They laughed the moment his name was called, not because anything was actually funny, but because sometimes people laugh when they think they already know the ending of the story. And in their minds, the ending was obvious. The CEO had asked for help from the janitor, a single dad janitor no less. It happened on a rainy Tuesday afternoon, the kind
Heavy
of day
day.
that makes everyone a little restless. The company was in chaos. Their new software platform, the one they'd spent millions developing and promised to investors, had suddenly crashed, right in the middle of a live global demo. Screens froze. Error messages exploded like fireworks. The tech team scrambled, the managers whispered in panic, and the board members demanded answers. And in the center of it all stood Elena Hart, the CEO, torn
Calm
apart on the inside. They had 14 minutes before the investors logged back in. 14 minutes to save the company. "Get Samuel," Elena said, quietly but firmly. Everyone blinked. "Samuel? You mean the janitor?" One of the senior engineers asked, barely hiding his disbelief. There was a pause. "Yes," Elena replied. "Samuel Brooks." And that was when the laughter began. Soft at first, disbelieving, dismissive. The single dad janitor, the one who mopped the floors at night and fixed squeaky doors. The guy who wore worn-in work boots and sometimes came in tired because he had to take his daughter to school before work. What could he possibly know about enterprise-level distributed systems? But what they didn't know, what almost no one knew, was that before life turned upside down, Samuel Brooks had once been something entirely different. He had been brilliant, and he had walked away. The door opened, and Samuel stepped inside, pushing his cleaning cart. His shirt sleeves were rolled up. His hair was a little messy. He looked surprised, maybe even a little uncomfortable. But he didn't look intimidated. "You asked for me?" he said quietly. Elena nodded. There was relief in her eyes, relief only he noticed. "Yes, we need help." He looked around the room, reading the tension, the embarrassment, the doubt. A few people avoided his gaze. A few smirked. One or two looked curious. "What happened?" Samuel asked, stepping toward the main terminal. The lead developer explained quickly. Stumbling over technical jargon and half-formed theories, Samuel listened without interrupting. His face went blank, the way it does when someone dives deep into thought. Then he pulled out a chair and sat down. "What's he doing?" someone whispered. "Let him," Eleanor replied. Samuel's fingers hovered over the keyboard, and then he began to type. Confident, fast, focused. He patched, he rewrote, he rerouted. 10 minutes passed. The engineers stopped laughing. 11 minutes. The system rebooted. 12 minutes. Everything came back online, stable, strong, smooth. The timer hit 13 minutes and 40 seconds, and the platform worked flawlessly. Not a glitch, not a hiccup. Silence filled the room. Samuel leaned back slightly, exhaled, and rubbed the back of his neck like he'd just finished fixing a loose pipe. Not saving a multi-million-dollar launch. "It should be good now," he said simply. "No speeches, no bragging, just fact." The board members logged back in. The demo resumed. Investors smiled. Applause echoed across virtual conference rooms worldwide. What had been moments from disaster transformed into triumph. But inside that office, the applause didn't matter. What mattered was the way everyone looked at Samuel now, not as a janitor, but as a mystery they had never bothered to understand. One of the senior engineers finally spoke. How did you know what to do?" Samuel hesitated for a second. He glanced at Elena. She nodded gently. "Tell them." He sighed softly. "I used to build systems like this," he said. "Research labs, defense tech, startups. I worked in AI architecture before my wife passed." That sentence landed like a stone dropped in still water. He didn't say more, but he didn't need to. His wife. Cancer, fast, unforgiving. One day he'd been presenting at conferences and designing world-changing solutions. The next, he was a widower with a 3-year-old daughter who cried herself to sleep and only stopped when he held her. He chose her. He walked away from big titles and big money. He took simpler work that didn't keep him away at night. Work that let him be there for bedtime stories, scraped knees and first days of school. Work like janitorial shifts. The world called it a step down. He called it being a father. And now, standing in front of stunned executives, he suddenly felt exposed. Not ashamed, just visible in a way he hadn't been for years. Elena stepped forward. When I first joined the company, she said quietly, I came in one night during a storm. I was stressed, overwhelmed. Samuel was the only one still here. We talked. He helped me fix a leak in the server room. And then he casually mentioned 3 improvements to our network design that later turned out to be ahead of our roadmap. She smiled. That's when I learned who he really was. The room shifted. Respect replaced doubt. Curiosity replaced arrogance. Why didn't you tell anyone? Someone asked. Samuel shrugged lightly. Because I didn't need to. My daughter needed me more than my resume did. There was something powerful in that simple truth, something humbling. Elena took a breath. Samuel, she said, I don't want you to mop floors anymore. I want you on our leadership team. Director of Systems Architecture, remote first, flexible hours. Full support. Gasps. This wasn't charity.